Hello, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be talking with Tracy. Tracy is a health coach with a background in pharmaceuticals. And we are going to be discussing a bit about something that I'm sure very many people are thinking about right now, which is careers. Careers, you can start at one place, find yourself a few years later in a totally different place. So let's hear about Tracy's journey and how she found herself where she is today. So, Tracy, tell us about yourself.
So thank you, first of all, for having me. So about myself, so yes, as you said, I'm a health coach, and what that means, because not many people know, is
Mhm.
that I help people to make adjustments to their lifestyle, to their health. So at the moment, I'm working with people who want to lose weight, keep it off, so they can prevent type 2 diabetes. So anything health related or lifestyle, like sleeping better, managing stress, that's what I do. But
Mhm.
I didn't start out here. I started as a pharmacist many years ago. And then at some point, I felt like I wanted to do something else, but I didn't know what. So I just continued. I did a few courses. I did a diploma in psychology. I did an MBA. I did a counseling skills course. So then after some health challenges, that's how I landed in this space. So that's the career side of me. Otherwise, I love to travel.
Mhm.
I love to meet people and hang out and just have a good time.
You really do love to travel. Every time I'm
I
asking
do.
you to do something, you're traveling somewhere. So, well, that's a good thing. What has traveling done for you? How have you integrated traveling? One, how have you integrated it into your normal life? And two, why do you love traveling? What does it do for you?
Yeah, let me start with the last part. What I love about traveling is I get to leave this country. I live in the UK, so
Mhm.
the weather is miserable most of the year, although now it's changing. So I get to escape the winter, so that's a big, big deal for me. I get to go somewhere sunny. For me, my formula is sun, sea, beach. If it's not,
Huh.
I'm not going. So what it does for me is it just helps me to relax,
Mm,
see other places. I love to see new places. I love to see different cultures, different
mm,
foods,
yeah.
different ways of living. So then it just helps you to see things differently because sometimes you're just in this vision. But if you open up your mind by traveling, then you see more, you appreciate more, you
Yes.
grow more. So that's what it does. But it's also fun, relaxing, enjoyable, and yes.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like sometimes we spend so much time worrying about our schedules and
Yes.
how it does not allow you to travel. So you did not start traveling 5 minutes ago. You've always been traveling. So how are you fitting that into your regular life
Yeah, I was
when
actually
you
going to
had
say I
a
didn't answer that
nine to
question.
five?
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
the way I do it is I plan. So like my birthday, every May, I'm traveling somewhere. Although last year I didn't travel somewhere. But so my birthday week, I'm traveling somewhere. So that's just standard. And then when I was working before in pharmacy, so of course you have your leave day, so you have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
So in December, I couldn't go on holiday because that's our busiest time. So
Mm-hmm.
then I'll travel maybe in January, February when there are good deals also, because I like a good deal. So then I'll travel off peak season. So that's how I think that's the major way I plan. Even now, although now I have the flexibility of traveling when I want, how
Mm.
long I want to. So that's how I fit it in. It's something that's important to me. So I just plan ahead, look for deals, and then I fit it into my schedule.
Okay. So back to career. So when you were
Yeah.
growing up, what did you want to be?
So imagine when I was growing up, I wanted to be a nursery school teacher.
Wow.
And that's
That's
because I loved writing on the board. So that's why I wanted to be a nursery school teacher. And then
Mhm.
I thought, hang on, this is gonna be hard. And then I think I started what I think that's when the Cosby Show was on. And
Yeah.
I saw Mrs. Claire Huxtable, and I was like, I'd love to be a lawyer.
Uh-huh.
And then I found out you have to do a lot of reading, and I'm like, no, 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 not that, not that. And then I think there's another movie I watched, Dante's Peak, and it was about geology. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. Then I found out you need physics. I'm like, no. And then my mom is a nurse. And I just remember, like, when I was young, I used to be ill, not too often, but yeah. And it was just interesting that she knew what medicine to give, but I didn't want to do the nursing part, but just knowing which medicines to give, that sounded appealing. So then that's how I came up with pharmacy. And then, yeah, then I got into pharmacy.
Well, if you ask me, pharmacy, you also still have to read a lot. So you're discounting the lawyer was not.
That's true.
So, I mean, I love the fact that you went through quite a few career ideas growing up,
Yeah.
because my daughter is 15 and now, and she's going through deciding what she's going to do. And she's like, I'm not going to say anything I want to do until I'm sure what I want to do. So I think
Yeah.
I'll show her this just so that she knows that, listen, by the time we get to where we are, we have
Yes.
funny reasons for what we want to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So you chose a pharmacy because you liked the idea of knowing what medicines to give. Once you got into the job, was
Yes.
the reality as good as the imagination you had thought?
No, no. So there's the side where, yes, you know which medicines to give, and but that's not the full role. The full role is, first of all, the physicality. Like, I was working in community pharmacy, so like your ordinary chemist, or pharmacy as people call them, chemists. So you're standing all day. That
Mhm.
was hard for me. Like, I remember when I would come home, I'd basically try and sit anywhere I could. So even when I'm cooking, I'm trying to sit on the countertop because my legs were tired. So of course, no one tells you that until
Mhm.
you get to the job. That was one thing. And then when I was doing so what happens is, when you finish university, you do what we used to call back then pre-registration year. So it's like an internship for 1 year. So
Mhm.
in that internship, I used to have a nice lunch break, 1 hour. In the summer, I can go sit in the park and relax. But now when I qualified, I didn't have that luxury.
Mm.
So again, the rules here, I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but at the time, the pharmacist has to be present for the pharmacy to keep moving. So if I'm not in the pharmacy, maybe even if I've just gone to the supermarket to grab my lunch, to buy lunch, they're restricted in what they can do, which means for the staff members, they'll get people shouting at them, why can't I buy? And they're like, the pharmacist is not here. So,
Mm.
things like that made it uncomfortable. So you're debating, okay, can I go out and buy lunch? Or, it was just, so there were some things about the job that I didn't know. And I think I was sheltered when I was doing my pre-registration, because there was a pharmacist who was tutoring me. So I
Mm.
didn't get to feel exactly what you would feel. I knew the job, but there's some things, until you do it, you don't get to see. So for me, I remember, I think I qualified in August. By November, I was like, I don't see myself lasting here for 5 years. But then I lasted more than 5 years, because I didn't know, like, to me, in my mind, I was like, what else can I do? I've studied, and even, let me say, going back to A levels, because I did A levels to get to university. I
Mhm.
nearly missed that chance. And I was like, how can I then switch on to something else after everything I've been through? The
Mm.
studying, during university, there were some modules I failed, so I had to resit. So I'm just like, for me, I just couldn't see any other way besides pharmacy. So, but yes, the reality versus the
The
imagination of
dream.
what I
Uh-huh.
had, the dream, it wasn't
Mhm.
what it was. Yeah.
So with what you know now,
Yeah.
somebody who comes and tells you, also, I've just finished my pre-registration and I've started this and I'm not seeing myself lasting for 5 years, what are you telling that person to do?
Okay, I'm telling them to think about why they feel they don't feel they can carry on.
Mm-hmm.
So just to dig and see why. Because sometimes it may just be something that can be fixed, like, oh, I don't know. like me who used to buy lunch at some point, then I used to carry my lunch. So maybe just carry lunch. There could be something practical that could be done.
Yeah.
So there could be a way to overcome it. But then dig and dig and dig and see, no, actually, you know what? My passion is somewhere. Okay, if your passion is somewhere, start exploring that. So I would say to them, explore why you feel as you feel and then see what comes up. And then also do it both ways. If you stay, what would you gain? And if you move, what would you
What do you
gain? And then
get?
again, what would you lose out if you stay? And what would you lose out if you go? So you get a full picture.
Yeah.
Then once you have the full picture, now you're making a rational decision instead of just like an emotional one. Because sometimes maybe it was very stressful, by the way. Yeah, it was very, as every job is, it was stressful. So sometimes you can say, I'm just gonna leave, but it's because of the stress. So
Yeah.
once the stress goes down, then you're okay. So I would say, yeah, reflect and think on both why you want to move and the advantages of staying and not staying. And then for me, I'm a prayerful person. So for me, before I made the move, I prayed about it. And then that's when I made my move.
So I've been doing quite a few videos on my channel about so I work in the NGO sector and in Geneva, where majority of the people here are working in the NGO sector. And one thing that has been coming up, especially for women, is the fact that now that funding is being withdrawn left, right, and center, people are like, I've always wanted to do this business. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do this. And my question to them is, and what has been stopping you? But no, it's because I had a salary, I had stability. This did not scare you. Did you not get afraid of the fact that you might not have been enjoying the job at some point, but there was a stable salary? How do you, because women, we tend to really, and this mostly goes to women, because women really, really rationalize staying in the same place.
Yes. That's very true. So for me, and I think that's the biggest part of why people would stay where they are. You're not seeing how you're going to move into uncertainty when you've had this nice, secure salary that comes promptly every month.
Yes.
So for me, what helped me was I was saving. I thought I was saving to buy a house, and that was not God's plan for me. So what his plan was, that would be my source of sustaining myself in this journey when I'm crossing over, doing the training and now doing the business. So for me, thankfully for me, and I don't think everyone is going to be in that situation. I had that is it security or just that cushion? Yeah, that cushion of the savings to rely on. So for me, it wasn't the number one factor. And again, also for me, it was the health challenge. Like for me, I got sick in 2020 during pandemic. Initially, we didn't know what it was. Turns out to be long COVID. So for me, health-wise, I could not go on the way I was working. I had to move. So that was actually the biggest thing for me, the health. There was just no way I could have continued. So then that became the overriding factor. And then now I had the cushion of the savings I had to be able to make that move. So for me, that's how it worked out.
And that's just it. Sometimes, especially because you said you had been praying about it and God was
Yes.
probably telling you, move, and you were not moving. So he just said, you know what? Get this long COVID and let's see if you still want to fight me.
100%. I was just telling somebody that I think 2 days ago, I really feel yes, because for a long time I'd wanted to move. And I went for different interviews and then I'm like, I just loved, I think it was scary because pharmacy was my comfort zone. So yeah, but I feel definitely for sure God had to push me out because he knew I would not have made that move. And honestly, yeah, I probably wouldn't have made that move.
Yeah, I think I'm not I'm the type of person, and I keep telling myself that maybe this will change with age. I'm the type of person that I do love a secure job, but I also do not believe in just having a job. I believe in having a job and another side hustle.
Yeah.
So as long as somebody can balance those two, I find that for me that works out perfectly, because what I do in my profession and my personality are so opposite each other that because I work as an executive assistant, which means you're supposed to be in the background, and
Yeah.
I have a main star character.
Yeah.
So my personality does not allow. So I find myself in a clash. So
Mm.
financially, that helps because then now I have something else that I can do
Yeah.
when I have the stable salary. But to be honest with you, just deciding that I'm going to stop my regular salary and jump into self-employment, for me, that is a conversation that I don't even feel like I want to have with myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with you, what do you think that you could have done differently now that you started the journey? Of course, you've had hiccups along the way. Of course, there are things that you did, losses, stuff like that. So what do you wish you could have done differently?
Yeah, I think what I could have done differently was definitely to have mentors along the way. Like, so during my pre-registration, I had the tutor. So of course, there was always someone to bounce back. And even up to today, in fact, I'm meeting her. This is after, what, 19 years. I'm meeting her today. So like we've been in touch, of course, but I'm just saying our journey started 19 years. We've kept a friendship. So she's actually been someone I've been able to ask, because even her, she made a career move. So she's no longer a pharmacist. She's a
Mhm.
teacher, a primary school teacher.
Wow.
Yes, so when I was actually making the change, I could talk to her. So I
Mhm.
feel I could have had more mentors along the way because you don't have to just have one. And
Yes.
it wasn't like an official, it's just like we'll chat here and there, then I'll bounce some ideas on her. So I feel
Mhm.
I would have had mentors, maybe
Mhm.
one, two, or however
Yeah.
many, but someone who you can journey with, someone who's already maybe been where I've been,
Mm.
and so I can get off their experience and their
Mm.
wisdom. So a mentor, and also just networking, because now it's interesting. When I was in my pharmacy world, we used to have meetings after work and I just used to dread them, but I knew I had to go.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in this space where I feel I've found my place, I love it.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to just build connections genuinely, because when you build
Mhm.
them genuinely, you enjoy it, and then you find like it lasts. So mentorship and networking, maybe if you want to call it a different name, say socializing, whatever,
Yeah.
but just get a way of meeting people.
Mm.
Then now, you can bounce off each other, and then they also have you in mind for whatever they may want you to help them with, and vice versa. So it's a
Mhm.
two-way street. Yeah. So those are the two things I would say I would do: mentorship and building connections with people.
Okay. So I mean, this, as I said, was going to be a short conversation.
Mhm.
However, I still have maybe one or two questions left
Yeah,
behind.
sure. Sure.
So, you do most of your coaching online,
Yes.
which allows you to have people from different cultures, people from different places. So that's another fun side of what you're learning. Are there
Yes.
any, like you would say, cultural differences that you've encountered that you are like, huh? Okay, this I did not expect.
Yes, it's true, because so like, yeah, as you said, the beauty of online coaching is I'll get clients from everywhere. So I've noticed there's a cultural element, like for women especially.
Mhm.
Women want to take care of themselves, but
Mhm.
because you're the wife, especially the wife, I wouldn't yeah, there's, the natural nurturing side of taking care of the husband,
Mhm.
and I feel like I've seen two cases where they're trying to work on their sleep,
Yeah.
and when we get to talk about what's going on, the cultural aspect, or maybe just them being a loving wife. So they'll wait for their husband to come home. Sometimes maybe he's come late, and
Mhm.
then they're getting his dinner ready and things like that. So for me, I never would have expected that. I don't know why, but
Because
I
you're
can see,
Kenyan.
yeah, you can. Yeah, so it's just I when you're thinking someone is struggling with sleep, I'm just going into, yeah, other
Yes.
things, but I didn't puts in that cultural element of,
Mm,
maybe on herself, she wants to do that, or maybe there's the expectation to do that
yeah,
for your husband. So now as a result, your sleep is a bit off. So
yeah.
that's definitely something I didn't expect. I didn't, yeah, but I've seen it. I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, I think that's well, I mean, it also helps you grow as a person because then now
Yes,
when you meet other people, you're thinking twice before you say something. Because
exactly.
my first, as I say, because you're Kenyan, my first impression would be, what's wrong with you? You need to look after yourself first. I mean, he can eat, he's a grown adult, let him microwave it. But other people, they don't think like that. And for you, that's a priority thing. Okay.
Yes.
So the other thing, any regrets? Any regrets from changing your career? You can finish with that.
Okay. My neighbor is drilling. I don't know if you can hear. I'll mute it
No,
if
I
it
can't.
does. Okay, good. So any regrets? I think I wish I would have started saving earlier. Because
Hmm.
I think when I was a student, no, when I qualified, okay, now you're earning money and you're not understanding budgeting, and I'm just spending, going out. And I remember there was one time the money I had in my pocket was more than what I had in my account. And I'm like, how is that possible? And then I was using my credit card, and then, they'll tell you, yeah, just minimum payment, £5. And you're thinking, yeah, I'll just make £5. And then as time goes, the interest is building up. Do you know, I had to take a loan to pay it
Okay,
off
you.
so that the interest was lower than the credit card. And I was like, I was so disappointed in myself, but it's a lesson I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm better with my money. So yeah, money management is what I wish I would have learned earlier, saving earlier, and
Mm-hmm.
budgeting earlier. And I feel like it's not something we learn in school. Wait, yeah, I don't feel it's something we learn in school that much, and there should be emphasis. Then by the time you're working, you know how to manage your money better, even in
Yeah,
investing and things like that.
that's actually weird. I've always found it weird that they don't teach things like that in school. My daughter, their school, they actually taught that, which I was very
Excellent.
impressed with that. I was like, okay,
Excellent.
they are taught this.
Yeah.
She finds it very annoying because she doesn't think it's realistic, but I'm like, bring that thing your teacher wrote again because I need it. She doesn't think it's realistic, but I'm
It-
looking at it and it is so accurate that, yeah, it's just, well, she's not earning anything right now. So, of course, she
yeah.
doesn't think this makes sense. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was
It
quite
it
impressed
does.
with
And then
her.
you see, I think the thing we also underestimate is time goes quick. Because
Hmm.
I remember I was just 20 the other day. Now I'm more than 20. So
Yeah.
time goes, and we think we have a lot of time, but no, if you started then, because I was thinking, and maybe I shouldn't, if I started saving then, oh my goodness, I would have been in a different place. But it's okay. It's a lesson learned.
When you start, you start.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the best thing you can do is just let the person who is 20 know that 5 minutes ago is when you should have started saving, but
Yes.
if you wait until tomorrow, then it's going to be tomorrow and 5 minutes. So you
Yes.
might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Thank you so much, Tracy. Is there anything you would like to say? I'm going to put the link to your podcast on the description and how people can contact you or your website,
Yeah.
and then we can talk about and then they can reach out to you. So
Yeah.
anything you would like to say in finishing?
Yeah, for anyone considering a career change, I know it can be scary, but just think about where you are now. Think about, are you really being, is it genuine with yourself? Sometimes we're very afraid. You don't even give yourself permission to think or to dream, but just give yourself permission to think and to dream about what you would like to do. It's not to say you'll do it then, but at least just start to have a vision.
Mhm,
Speak to people. If you're someone who's prayerful, pray about it.
mhm.
And just understand sometimes, I think there's a meme that goes around all the time saying our comfort zone is actually where we don't grow. It's
Yeah.
out of your comfort zone, out of the place where you don't know what will happen,
Mm,
that you grow the most. And I promise you, even though it's difficult, but
mm,
it's so much better, so much fulfilling and peaceful. Because honestly, even though the journey is difficult,
Yeah.
but the stress I had in pharmacy, I have not seen that stress in this journey.
Yeah.
So have faith and take a leap of faith. And if someone wanted to discuss this sort of things, this is what I do, part of my job, because health is not just health, health, health. Sometimes you're stressed, you're not living authentically, then that's affecting your health. So feel free to be in touch and then we can have a conversation, but take a leap of faith. Don't be afraid.
Exactly. And me as a mental health person, I also tell people all the time that sometimes it's better to be broke and happy
Yes.
than rich and unhappy, because all that money you're making, you're going to end up spending it
Yeah.
to treat your mental health
Yeah. And can
and
I just
other things.
yeah.
And
Let
a
me
lot
just
of other things, blood pressure,
yeah. Yeah.
diabetes, everything.
Yeah, like there's a situation going on. My mom had a tenant, and I was just telling her, you know what? At this point, it's okay not to have a tenant because sometimes your peace is
Yes.
more important than money. I literally told her your peace is more important than money. So
Yeah.
I think it's difficult. Yes, we're living in a time when, we need to pay for things, but your peace, your
Mhm.
fulfillment, your inner peace, and just knowing you're living true to what you want, not what somebody wants, not what society wants.
Yeah.
It's so important. And I'm telling you, even my health has become better. So yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcy.
Okay.